Okay, so hi, hello, welcome back to another episode of Borrasca. This will be the final part. I decided to read part 5 since why not? Part 5 is technically kind of like not the definitive ending, but it's also just kind of like something that's just kind of like tacked on towards the end of the story of Borrasca. So, yeah, I thought it would be kind of fun to read this. Also, this is being recorded on Valentine's Day. So if you had a good, hopefully you had a good Valentine's Day. And yeah. This one hopefully isn't anything bad, but please use code GOONS at gamersubs.gg. It is code GOONS at gamersubs.gg. You get 10% out at checkout. And also, this is a one take. You guys heard me just mess up earlier because this is all one take. So yeah. Okay, so alright, let's get into it. Borrasca Part 5. And also, CK Walker put apologies for the format. I will correct 12. I'll correct it on 12/26. I will correct. And they should put 12/26 by the time she put it. Okay. So, Borrasca Part 5. How long had I been asleep? And when I realized that I wasn't anymore. I watched the ceiling fans circle slowly above me, doing nothing to dissipate the cloud of cigarette smoke that had drifted above my room for years. I had started most mornings this way, but no, it wasn't morning. Was it? I turned my head towards the bedroom window and confirmed the sky was dark outside of it. The last thing I recalled was being in the bathroom and then silence and sweet darkness. Stuff. I sat up and chugged an old bottle. I sat up and chugged a old bottle of water sitting on the floor next to the bed, then threw the empty bottle at my closet door. I lit a cigarette and took a long drag, releasing a cloud of smoke up into the apathetic fan. It floated idly above me. Pulling on an old hoodie, I walked out into the small living room of the apartment I shared with my roommate. "Evening, princess." Seth was reclining on the end of the couch, fingers flying across the keyboard of a notebook sitting on his lap. A confusing yet edgy indie movie played on TV in front of him. This was pretty much Seth's life at any given day, and it perfectly summed up all of my interactions with him since I moved in. Well, all of my sober interactions with him anyways. I pulled down on my sleeve to subconsciously hide my arms like it made any sort of difference, but it didn't. Seth already knew. He noticed what I was doing, and his smile fell into a sobering look. "I found you passed out in the bathroom again." "Sorry," I rasped. A reach for a half can of Mountain Dew that had been sitting on the counter for God knows how long. You do realize how difficult it is for me to drag a 6'3" dude out of the bathtub and down the hall to his room. "Next time, just leave me there, man." "Hardly, you would have choked on your own vomit." I shrugged. I knew this was death lurking in my future anyway, but heroin afforded me one convenience that I refused to part with: a dreamless sleep. I died before I surrendered that. Besides, if the nightmares came back, I'll probably just end myself anyway. "You had some visitors today while you were passed out." Dreddy stopped by. "Oh yeah?" "Yep, he left you more drugs. Said you could pay him when you had money, you know. He must be the sweetest, most generous drug dealer in all of Chicago." "Where is it?" "You were sleeping like a baby in the tub, so I just left it next to you," Seth said. "Cool. In the toilet." "Dude, look man, if you die, I don't get half your rent. And if I don't get half your rent, I have to get a real job. It's just business, you know? Nothing personal." Of course that wasn't true. Seth and I had met at a darker time in both our lives, and shared the sort of bond that only forged in such circumstances. Who was the other? I asked. The other what? The other visitor? Ah, a girl, actually. I told her you were out. Figured you prefer I tell her that over the truth. Did she say what she wanted? I asked. No. I swore that was never good. It was probably just some girl coming over to beg for free drugs, which I didn't currently have because Seth had flushed them down the toilet. And I would never let her touch my private stash. That had to be it. What the fuck else could she want? Great, so some chick either wants to hook up or is coming over to tell me she's pregnant. Seth scoffed. You wish. This chick was beyond anything you could ever get. Really? Because she did but she did come asking around for me, didn't she? Sure, but I'm the one that got her number. No, you fucking didn't. I laughed as I walked into the kitchen and took one of our 3 glasses out of the cupboard. Oh, I did. Seth held up a torn shard of white paper. She gave it to me and asked me to call her when you get home. He used air quotes on the last 2 words. Yeah, well, don't. I don't want anything to do with. There was a knock at the door. I shot Seth a poisonous look. What? He threw his hands up. She's really hot, and you can't stand in the way of true love. Don't open it, I warned as he walked over to the door. Sorry, Sam, but, I have a thing for redheads. Redheads? What? Do I know any redheads? I couldn't place one for the life of me, and then Seth opened the door to reveal Kimber the Starro standing on the other side. I suddenly felt like a bucket of ice water had been dumped on my soul. I had a few seconds to study her before my eyes found me leaning against the counter in the kitchen. Before her eyes found me leaning against the counter in the kitchen. She was still very short, but her hair was longer. Halfway down her back, it looked like, and she was, of course, almost 10 years older than the last time I'd seen her. Looking at her after all these years was physically crippling. I had to make a concentrated effort to stay on my feet while my knees tried to buckle underneath me. Just seeing her face brought back painful memories. Memories I thought I had long buried. She was like a mirage, long dead, returning to torture me. Kimber's eyes finally found me as she nervously clutched her cell phone in her hands, turning it over and over against her chest. Hi, Sam, she said with more confidence than she clearly felt. Since Kimber had actually spoken to me, I could probably confirm that this wasn't a nightmare. She was really here, and if she was real, that meant that it was all real too. A shudder racked through my body, and I found my white knuckle fingers around the edge of the countertop. Why are you here? I hadn't meant to sound angry. My words seemed to rattle Kimber, and she took a step back. Seth watched the exchange with interest, but didn't intervene. You shouldn't be here, Kimber, I said. I just wanted her to leave. This needed to end before I lost it, and after she was gone, I could pretend she was just a nightmare. She was just a nightmare seeping through the veil. Kimber hesitated. I saw her calculating in her mind as she watched me, her lips moving only slightly as she organized all the variables in her head. It was such a Kimber thing to do, and it made me realize how much I missed her. I saw the exact moment Kimber found in her mind what she was looking for. Did you get my letter? She asked. Yes. And I threw it away. I was lying. She faltered for only a moment. Did you read it? I didn't say anything, but I knew she could read the answer on my face. When neither of us spoke, an awkward tension began to bleed into the room. So, I'm Seth, a roommate said, still casually leaning against the door. Kimber held my stare for a moment longer and then broke it to finally walk into the room. Seth let the door close behind her. Kimber, she said to him. And how do you know Sam? We grew up together. Neat. Sam and I were cellmates in prison. Seth! I snapped. I was in for a super sexy felony. Computer crime, Sam was in for, I swear to God, Seth, I warned. Harder stuff. Good night, all, he said cheerfully and left the room. I kept my eyes on him as he made his way down the hall to his room, cursing his every step. When Seth's door finally closed behind him, I reluctantly let my gaze drift back into the room. Kimber was watching me with an expression I couldn't read, but I didn't like it. The letter, she repeated. Yes, I read it. Kimber continued to stare at me, waiting for more, and she cracked me just that easily. I don't know what to say. I ran my hands through my mess of dark, unwashed hair. I'm sorry that we didn't. Sam, stop. I'm not here for apologies. I don't need one. You guys got me out. Kyle got you out. His name seemed to impel her. I wonder how long it had been since she heard it. Well, that's kind of why I'm here. There are others, Sam. Women who never escaped that place. Yeah. I want to help them. How? I want Drisking to be exposed. I want what they done to be known to the world. Yeah. So do I. So do a lot of people, but the majority of us aren't in a position to do anything about it. I needed a drink. I pulled a plastic bottle of cheap vodka from the freezer and poured it into a glass. Do you want some? I asked, almost as an afterthought. God, yes, Kimber said, and I took another glass down from the cupboard. I filled it and handed it to her. She drank half of it in one sip, which seemed to steady her. So, what do you want from me, Kimber? I asked as she sat the glass down. I want you to come back to Drisking with me. I laughed and tipped my glass back, allowing the hot sting of alcohol to unfurl down my throat. I'm serious, Sam. Yeah, the answer is no. We'd never leave that place alive. We did once. We're not going back. I have a contact, someone on the inside. The inside of what? Drisking? Borrasca? The sheriff's office? They know stuff, okay? And they're willing to help us. That's all we need to know. No, we need a lot more information than that. And you'll get it later, after we get there. Did you really come all the way from California to ask me this? After 9 years? Actually, I wasn't asking. Kimber looked at me coolly and crossed her arms in front of her with an ironclad conviction. This wasn't the Kimber I remembered. I didn't know this woman. Somebody told you that they were going to help you take down a very highly connected and protected crime syndicate, and you believe them? I didn't say that. So you don't trust them? I didn't say that either. Yeah, well, this isn't happening. We'd be dead the minute we crossed the county line. Are you saying you won't go? Fuck no, I won't go, I said, pouring myself more vodka. Alright, Kimber said, and set her glass on the table beside her. Well, Thank you for the drink, but I have to go. Something lurched inside of me. I couldn't let her leave, not when I just got her back. So why was I being such a dick? Wait! I took a step toward her before I realized what I'd done. Where are you going? I told you. I told you, she snapped as she started moving towards it. I told you, she snapped as she started toward the door. I'm going to Drisking. I was on her before she finished her sentence and yanked her away from the door. The hell you are? I told you I was going, Sam, and I fucking meant it. I didn't know you intended to go alone. That's goddamn suicide. I don't care. It needs to end. Why does it have to be you? I pled desperately. My heart began to sink as I realized I did know this Kimber. Her mind was made up, and there would be no way to stop her. Who else, Sam? Who else but us? There's no one. The thought of my best friend back at that place seared through my brain like a hot iron. I had to make Kimber see reason, even if I had to hurt her. There was no other way. So, after what Killy and Clary did to you there, after all you suffered at Borrasca, you want to go back? She snatched her arm back from my grasp. Yes, because there are other people still suffering. As we stand here arguing about this, we shouldn't have even waited this long to try and help them. No, wait, we can think this through. Now, try again with the FBI, the cops, Interpol, I don't know, whoever will listen. Did that work before? She asked. It hadn't. Sam, if I tried to report to the what happened to me? I'll show up on the radar immediately and be dead by morning. No more pretensions, no more manipulations. I had to bare my soul to this girl if I wanted her to stop. Please, I said desperately. Please, Kimber, I'm begging you not to make me do this. I'm sorry, but I'm going. I was panicking, unable to control my breathing and the pounding of my heart, which was racing to a finish line that lay somewhere in the immediate I was panicking, unable to control my breathing or the pounding of my heart, which was racing to the finish line that lay somewhere in the immediate future. Fuck! I screamed, and swept Kimber's vodka glass off the table to where it shattered against the wall. This didn't seem to surprise her, and Kimber kept her composure while I raged. Fuck! It was over. I was going back to Drisking. Okay, I'm popping in here. So that was the end of Chapter 1 of Borrasca Part 5. I don't know how many chapters there are, but it looks pretty long. So this may be a two-parter. How many chapters are there in total? Oh, there is a lot. Oh, there's like 20 chapters. Okay. Alright, so this may not be a, I'll probably do like up to like chapter 5, maybe. But yeah, I'm reading this from, the ckwalker.com, and, it's like a really gray background on like a red, like, on like a, I forgot the name of it right now. But it's gray on like a dark red, background, so it's kind of hard to read. But yeah, we're going back to Drisking. Let's move on. I watched the vodka drip down the wall where I hurled it. If I wasn't so terrified, I would have been embarrassed by my outburst, but I couldn't stop the shaking. Deep breaths, one problem at a time. I need to wipe off the wall, pick up the glass, and then I could go die in Missouri. I let out a pathetic sob. Sam, I won't let anything happen to you. I gave her a ludicrous look. How could such a tiny person stop anything from happening to me? Kimber had always been a little fireball, but this was madness. She raised her chin defiantly when she saw me assessing her. When, when are we leaving? I asked, trying to keep my voice as composed as possible. All I wanted to do was retreat into my room, where I could let the fear overtake me. In the morning, she said. That's fucking crazy, Kimber. We need time to plan. And I need the contact number for the source of yours. We can't just go waltzing into a town after a decade. I had a lot of time to prepare for this. Years, in fact. Look, tomorrow, let's just get in the car and go. I'll have the entire 8-hour drive to convince you that I have a good plan. What the fuck is this rush, Kimber? You trying to be dead by Christmas? Just trust me, I'll explain everything in the car tomorrow. You know, it's already midnight. Yeah, I know, I've been driving all day. I'm tired as hell, she sighed. You just got in today? Yes. From LA? Close enough. Jesus Christ, woman, do you have a hotel? Not yet, she shrugged. You can stay here then. If you're talking so much crazy, I don't trust your lunacy out in the city. Kimber narrowed her eyes at me and then shrugged. Fine by me. Okay, you can take my room, just give me a minute. Shattered whiskey glass forgotten, I left Kimber standing where she was, went back to my room. I flicked the light on and glanced around. My heart plummeted. My room was disgusting. I hadn't really looked at it in years. It was really just a place to watch TV or pass out. I couldn't remember the last time I changed the sheets or done any laundry. The girls who usually stayed over didn't care much what they were sleeping on. But this was no place for a girl like Kimber. I stripped the bed as fast as I could and herded bottles, discarded needles, and empty cigarettes boxes into the closet. I realized too late that I didn't actually have anything to place the dirty sheets. I was so overwhelmed by the last 40 minutes, I was so overwhelmed by the last 40 minutes that I felt tears start to well in my eyes. Get a hold of yourself, you pussy. I jumped as a sudden knock on the door. Seth stuck his head in. Here. He handed me a stack of clean, folded sheets on top of a blue kilt. I wanted to hug him, but I was still attempting to get my emotions under control. Thanks. Hey, so, listen, he said slowly. Does this mean, is all that stuff about Drisking true? I had never told Seth or anyone else beside the feds. Anything about Drisking. What stuff? Come on, man. I hear you talk in your sleep all the time. You say all sorts of fucked up stuff. That's why I heard your friend's name before. You talked about her in your sleep. What? Wait, what are you talking about? I said. I don't even dream when I sleep. Yeah, you do. You may not remember it, but trust me, you do. I didn't say anything and Seth started to leave. Oh, one more thing. If you need anything while you're back home, just call me. Home. Fucking Drisking was home. Since I lived in a shitty neighborhood, I walked Kimber down to her car to get her bag out of the back seat. She dropped her duffel bag on the thankfully dark carpet of my freshly cleaned room, which was still barely passable. At the very least, I knew that she was here and safe. I always wondered if Clary and Prescott were having me watched. If they were, Kimber was in danger just by being in Chicago. It probably would be a good idea just to leave in the morning. I settled down on a couch and pulled out my personal stash, which I pocketed while kicking garbage into my closet earlier. I needed it tonight, of all nights. And if it was going to be one of my last, then I would make it count. 30 minutes later, I floated down the familiar river at dark, dreamless sleep. Okay, so that was chapter 2. I'll see how long chapter 3 is, and depending. Okay, it's not that long, so I'll do chapter 3 today. It's a long story about Borrasca Part 5. So, yeah, this one might be kind of cut up. Just depending on how this video does, I will probably finish it, but at least I got the main canon parts done. So, yeah. Okay, chapter 3. I didn't remember dreaming, but I knew I had. I woke up feeling like I'd run 30 miles, drenched in sweat, and fighting to draw in the air with raw, ragged breaths. I sat up on the couch and rubbed my face. What time was it? Why was I in the living room? Why did I feel a malicious black cloud looming over me, like some sort of comic strip character? And then, it all came back, crashing like waves over my head. Holy shit, Kimber was here, and she wanted something. I felt the fear shower me like an ice-cold rain, as I recalled the pieces of the night before. We were going back. Kimber's bag was next to the door, and she was sitting at the table reading one of Sev's Look How Smart I Am philosophy book. As I sat up, I stood the evidence of my addiction under the couch with my foot, praying she hadn't already seen it. Morning, Sam, Kimber smiled, without looking up from the book. Why in the fuck are you so chipper? You remember where we're going, right? Yes? She put the book down and looked over at me, beaming. I've just missed you so much. It was a genuine statement, and the mouth twitched into a little smile at her words. God damn it, I was so happy to see her too. Buried underneath all the fear, the numbing pain was a glowing euphoria. I had never been happier than when I was with Kimber and Kyle. And one of them had actually come back from the void of the past. I stood up. Just let me shower and pack, then we can get on the road. That is, if you're still planning on going. Yes, I am, she said. Are you? Yeah, it appears that I am. I have run out of arguments. Seth had already left for the day, so I locked up the apartment and we headed down to Kimber's car. A 10-year-old Mazda sedan. She took my bag and threw it into the back seat next to hers and then climbed in. So, 8 hours, huh? I asked as she started the engine. Yep, but I can probably do it in 7. Fuck me, don't rush on my account. Kimber pulled her sunglasses down and pulled out of the apartment complex. I looked back and wondered if I will ever see his crumbling, graffiti-covered walls again, or if I even wanted to. Stop staring at me. What? You're not as sly as you think you are, Kimber muttered. Sorry, it's just... I never thought I'd get to see you again. Neither did I, she sighed. You look good. Pretty, like, healthy. I stumbled all over my compliment. Kimber raised an eyebrow. Thanks, I think. I laughed nervously. You know what I mean. What you look like you've done well from. You look like you've done well from yourself the last 10 years. Kimber frowned and remained quiet for a minute, as if debating whether or not to tell me something. I never told anyone where I came from, she said finally. My mom said she had family in Anaheim, but I couldn't find them. Everyone thought I was just a runaway. Cops picked me up and almost immediately they put me in a halfway house. Sorry about your car, by the way. They impounded it. I don't suppose you ever got it back. I shrugged. No, but who cares? It was just an old Honda. Kimber threw me a sympathetic look. I'm sorry anyway. The halfway house kept trying to identify me, so I ran away from there too. Eventually, I got a job. Southern California is a great place to live if you don't have an ID. If you don't have an ID, by the way. I'm sure, I said. After that, I went to community college, and yeah, I've just been sort of biding my time. Are you sure you want to just throw all that away to expose your grapist? Grapeist? Kimber winced at my words and immediately regretted them. No, him I want dead. And throw all what away? I've been planning this for an entire decade. Well, you've still done better than me. I have my life's a mess. Were you really in prison? Kimber asked. Yeah. She didn't say anything. Felony possession, I volunteered. Kimber nodded, and you're still... I knew what she was asking. Yeah, I said. So, what's your plan? Well, first, we're going to rent a room just outside of town. Remember that one hotel off of exit 113? Prince Ridge Inn or something? Outside of town. I like it. And then I'm going to meet with my contact sometime tomorrow. Right. And then we just go from there. Go from there? Yep. Kimber nodded but wouldn't look at me. Please don't tell me this is your plan. Our contact will give us more direction. Your contact? Yeah. Do I know this guy? I asked. I didn't say it was a guy, and it doesn't matter. Why wouldn't it matter? Because this person has told me stuff that can only mean they are on our side. Yeah, like what? I asked. Like the sheriff's schedule. My dad? Yeah, he's still sheriff in Drisking. I hadn't doubted that. What else? I asked. Okay, well, they also told me that to know where all the records are. What's records? You know, all the data for the Borrasca operation, the incriminating stuff. Alright. And, well, they told me things about Kyle. Yeah. I can tell you things about Kyle too. Sam. Kyle's gone. No, he isn't. No. No, actually, yeah, because I saw him with my own eyes before I left town. I talked to him too. He's empty, Kimber. There's no one there. You're wrong. He's a total vegetable. You're wrong. That's wrong. My source told me that he's just sedated. Sedated? Sedated for 9 years, Kimber? Yes, she said with false conviction. So your source is just telling you things you want to hear. I believe it's true. Kimber, I saw what they did to Kyle. They straight up they beat the death into him. The only part of Kyle left on this earth is his mangled body. Stop, Sam. I'm sorry, I can't go through this again. Not with Kyle. I already mourned him, and you should too. We need to know for sure. Hold up, wait. So, this little trip isn't actually about getting the records or killing the asshole who hurt you. Or helping those people. This is some sort of ill-conceived rescue mission, isn't it? Partially. So that's your rush then. You got some bad info that Kyle is alive and you're running off half-cocked to get him? No. Why don't we just go straight to his house and pick him up then, huh? If he can't be back on the road by dawn. I don't know where he is. The Landy's moved him. Then what are we doing? If I'm going to die for this, Kimber, I deserve to know why. She jerked the wheel to the side of the highway and slammed on the brakes. Fuck, Kimber! I yelled. My head cracked against the window and I was still seeing stars when I realized that Kimber was out of the car. I rubbed my head until the throbbing stopped and then followed her back to where she was standing over the open trunk. Inside were dozens of guns, at least 30 of them. There was rifles, handguns, a shotgun, a box upon a box, and boxes upon boxes of ammo. Are you planning to storm the Alamo? Does this look like Kyle is all I'm after for? I'm actually a little scared of you right now. I want all of this to end. I want Kyle back, yes. And it's true that's why I showed up so suddenly, but I want more than that, Sam. I want him dead. I understood her hatred for Clary, but if we're going to murder people, I want Jimmy Prescott dead as well. And when that time came, and if I was certain he was culpable, my father too. How did you get all these? Kimber shrugged. It had taken me a few years, lots of traveling around the Southwest to gun shows and stuff. Okay, well, close the trunk before somebody drives by and sees your fucking arsenal. This is Illinois, for fuck's sake. She slammed it shut, and we got back into the car, where I was rubbing my head and lamenting at the bump that was already forming there. When I realized Kimber hadn't started the car, I looked up to find her gripping the steering wheel tightly and staring straight out the windshield. She was fighting back tears. Kimber, I'm sorry, I said. She blinked a few times to clear her eyes. I'm being a total asshole. I don't know what's wrong with me. But I did know. My mind was cloudy from years of drug use. I had no filter. And I had a problem controlling my emotions, which swung back and forth like a pendulum on a clock. And changed just as often. No, I never should have asked you to come. It was wrong. She breathed the last word, and she dropped her hands from the steering wheel. Asked? I said. She covered her face. You're right, I manipulated you. You don't even know me anymore. You shouldn't be here. I leaned over the center console and hugged her. Kimber recoiled at my touch, like I delivered her electric shock. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I said. No, it's okay, I don't like to be touched. This was new Kimber. This is new Kimber. I pulled out my pack of Marlboros. I lit a cigarette without asking if it was okay. Fuck Kimber, I'm a piece of shit. I always been a piece of shit. I probably should be your honesty. You give me the opportunity to do something with my life, but I'm fucking scared and it's making me a dick. Kimber leaned back and wiped her eyes. You really don't have that much to worry about, Sam. You're still the son of the sheriff, and he won't hurt you. I had considered this too, and it made my skin crawl. Son of the sheriff. If what I suspected was true, then that will make me the heir to Borrasca. My stomach lurched in revulsion. Maybe. Let's just get to the hotel and we'll decide what to do. We probably want to make a little noise as possible while we figure out where Clary and Prescott are. We do not want anybody to know we're back in town. Kimber nodded. And the sheriff? And the sheriff. I didn't want to think about it. I had buried the assumptions about my father's guilt years ago, under enough black tar heroin to kill a horse. I guess it was time to remember. Okay, so I'm gonna end it off on chapter 3 for Borrasca part 5. So yeah, you can definitely tell the tone has shifted now. Sam is a recovering drug addict, or an agile drug addict right now. And yeah, it's rough for Sam. Yet again, I don't know if I'll continue this series. I just thought, hey, it might be kind of fun to do Borrasca Part 5, but you can tell the tone has shifted from a horror story to more just like a revenge thing. But it is nice to see Kimber again. But now Kimber has changed and she is out for blood. Okay, so I'm gonna end it here. All my links are down below. You can follow me there. Instagram, Twitter, Twitter, all that lovely stuff. And yeah, please subscribe for more. If I don't finish Borrasca, I do have other horror stories coming out. So yeah. So I did want to say thank you guys so much for watching. Yet again, sorry for me fumbling up my words, but it is what it is. So I do want to say thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye everyone.